We look out of a car window and we see wetlands, we see forests, we see a place that looks pretty wild. We look at a place and we say, what is that? And we come to a sign that tells us that it's the Stone Harbor Bird Sanctuary. 21 acres set aside in 1947 by the town council so that people of the future, that's who we are, can spend time communing with nature in a beach community. This is what a barrier island looked like before the houses were built, before people moved in, before people built boardwalks. This is the Stone Harbor Bird Sanctuary. Let's take some trips into the sanctuary. Let's look at what's growing here. Let's look at the history of a sanctuary. We come across a bridge on the Eagle Gillespie Trail that leads us down off the barrier dune into the forest. Maritime forests are a dwindling phenomenon on the East Coast. All the barrier islands from Sandy Hook to Florida at one time were forested like this. This is a relic left over from the Ice Age because the barrier islands are products of the Ice Age. That as the Laurentide ice cap melted and a mile and a half worth of ice melted back into the oceans pushed ahead of it all kinds of sand, debris left over from the glaciers. And when the ice was depleted, when all the melting stopped and all the rivers stopped flowing into the ocean from those ice caps, we had left barrier islands made up of sand and gravel. Nothing more. If we look down, and you'll see later in the clip, there are sand dunes over which trees have grown over the last 10,000 years. These trees are the result of birds dropping seeds, of the trees dropping seeds, and rooting taking place. The evolutionary process of the trees growing, dying, fruits being dropped on the ground, birds eating those fruits, and their droppings all help to grow this forest. And it's taken thousands of years for the wetlands and the forest to merge into what we have today as the sanctuary. The wild cherries that the birds will eat, that will drop and grow more wild cherry. In our maritime forest, as people walk through and look at the kinds of trees we have, they're going to find that there are four. We have cherry trees, those wild cherries you just saw. We have sassafras trees. We have red cedar trees. We have holly trees. All of these trees bear berries. The berry-bearing trees that provide us with this forest. This forest is a haven for 300 different species of migratory birds that fly through here every spring and every fall. We've set up a demonstration forest with bald cypress, trees that are growing here that didn't grow before because of our climate changes. On the top of a dune, we look at a 400-year-old holly tree. A holly tree that was here when Henry Hudson sailed around the Cape May Point, looking for the Northwest Passage to China, looking for a shortcut to the treasures that the businesses of Europe traded with the Orient. When he rounded the Cape May Point, he found that he was not in that Northwest Passage. He was in the estuary of the Delaware River. And the farther north he sailed, the narrower it got, and he knew that this was not his answer. He came back, sailed around, and supported the growth of New Amsterdam, which of course became New York. All of this background to show that these trees and this place has been growing and evolving into what it is today. Not just for 5 years or 10 years or a lifetime, but many, many lifetimes. Lifetimes of the Lenni Lenape Indians, the lifetimes of the colonials who used our barrier islands as a place to drive their cattle over the summer, into places that had fresh water, as we do. The uniqueness of this site is that we have freshwater, saltwater, and maritime forest, all compacted into 21 acres, but 21 acres of what we used to see when we went out onto a barrier island. We look out onto the wetlands, we look out onto the sanctuary, we look out onto a heronry, the only municipal heronry in the United States, only 2 in the world, the other one being in Japan. So here we are at Paul's Pond, the place where we view ibis, yellow and black-crowned night herons, the place where we can see great egrets. This is a place of meeting. This is a place where we come together. This is a place where nature, birds, the animals of our sanctuary, and people come and meet. It's a sanctuary for a lot of different things.